Yeah. Well, well, well. What's up? We're back. These guys are sitting here for no particular reason other than they look so damn cool. I was watching an old video the other night, one of my old videos. Sometimes I'll watch them, just to see how they hold up. And I was looking at some of these, with the hats, and they looked so neat. And someone commented the other day, they said, man, that hide looks so great with the top hat. And I said, you know what? I want to get all four of these dudes out here for the opening scene of this video, because they just look awesome. So yes, we're gonna discuss. We're gonna touch on the whole Don Post Studios trick or treat thing today, because photos were finally, I don't want to say leaked, but they were put out somewhere in one of the groups, probably the Don Post Studios group, of some of the new products that Trick or Treat is producing under the Don Post Studios name. If you're not familiar with what's been going down, Trick or Treat Studios now owns the Don Post franchise, if you will. Franchise, whatever. The name, everything about it. Don Post now belongs to Trick or Treat, along with Topstone and Elusive Concepts, and one other. Was there one more? I can't think of right now. So, Justin, my friend Justin Mabry, he and I have been discussing this stuff for a long time. Probably in the past 6 to 8 months, we had long late night phone calls, sometimes 4 hours long, talking about masks and the whole Don Post thing especially. And he would hear my ideas, he would tell me his plans. And when this whole thing started out, maybe, I don't know, has it been a whole year since the news was let out that they were acquiring the name? It could have been about a year ago, I don't know, but there was a ton of excitement, and I have to admit, a lot of people that were probably watching to see what I was going to say, not like I'm this, not like I'm this important thing to watch for information out there, but I'm a big Don Post collector. I've always been known as a big Don Post guy. And I really didn't say much in the beginning. I kind of just watched quietly at all the comments, and and I'm just sitting here like, I didn't know at first when I heard the news, I just didn't know my opinion on it yet. I will be honest. I was hesitant to jump for joy, and I don't know if I told Justin or I commented out there saying, hi. What I said in the beginning was, it's very cool. However, they've got some big shoes to fill. Don Post Studios was this, Halloween mask juggernaut. Don Post Sr. invented the frickin' over-the-head latex rubber mask, this is not just some mask company. This is the mask company. The mask company that was Ed Edmonds' inspiration, what he loved as a child and growing up as a young man. A lot of people, the company Don Post Studios affected so many people in many ways, people like myself. Here I am, a young man now, sitting in a room filled with Don Post masks. I never thought in my life I would be where I'm at with a collection like this. When I was a kid in the 80s and the 70s, I would drool over a mask wishing I could own one of them, Never, if you told me back then I would have something like this, I wouldn't have believed it. It's crazy how products from a company could affect people so much in their lives that now, when they're all grown up, they are just nuts about it still to this day, decades and decades later. That means that company was doing something really right, And my biggest fear in the beginning was, God, I hope the quality, you know, I go, these were, I've said it, you know, I said, these were handmade, hand-painted Hollywood masks, you know, however the Don Post thing goes, you know, but it's, so I was hesitant at first, like, man, I hope they can pull this off. And so the more Justin and I would talk over the past year, he actually wanted me to be a consultant on things with the Don Post line. I was thrilled. Like, I'm like, hell yeah. Let's talk. I'll give you my ideas. I'll give you my thoughts. I've been providing him with details on things that he needs, like the ghost skulls. We went over some stuff about those recently before the actual masks were put out in the public eye now. So if you guys go, I'm going to put the images on the screen here, but someone posted them this morning in the Don Post group. Trick or Treat did their announcement in a way where they're showing the first, I don't know if they're the first ones, but the first classic Don Post stuff to come out of Trick or Treat Studios. And I remember about a couple months ago, Justin said, he goes, I think I got about 10 vinyl masks that are definitely going to be released right away. You know, like real deal vinyl Don Post masks. And guys are going crazy now because you've got the glowing ghoulies, like the 78 glow line, 79 glow line masks, Carlisle, the Skull, Nuclear Death, Corpse. They're all coming back. And amongst other things, like the White Skulls, the Ghost Skull, and interestingly enough, a Black Skull. And I'm like, that's crazy. I don't want to say I'm the first one to ever make a Black Skull, but I sure am the first, like a long time ago, before the black blanks all surfaced. You know, those great vintage real deal vinyl blanks surfaced. I was so crazy about skulls when I did the whole Don Post skull write-up, and obviously crazy about Halloween 3. I took a skull and painted it solid black because I love the way they looked in Halloween 3 when they show the factory scenes, Silver Shamrock Factory, which was actually Don Post Studios. They show these beautiful black rubber they show these beautiful black vinyl castings of the skulls before any paint went on them. And I'm like, look at that. I want to make a black skull like that, you know? So I made one years ago. Probably around 2010 or 11. But then the black blanks, the whole Don Post thing was going on, the big sale and the liquidation, and the blanks all surfaced. And now, Trick or Treat Studios is offering a black skull, which is so cool. Now, I'm not saying they're doing that because I did that. But I don't know. Probably because the black blanks were so sought after when they did surface. That'd be my guess. And it's just cool as hell. A black skull. And the cool thing about that black skull, and I don't know if this was intentional or not. I didn't really ask Justin this. But that black skull will be cool for any of you out there that really want to customize and make your own version of the Don Post skull. You've got a black foundation now, like a raw casting from the factory. And I'm hoping that thing is solid black vinyl. If you're gutsy enough and you could take a sponge and you could sponge on any color you want and make those black skull blanks, whatever you want. I wouldn't make them white because they offer white skulls, but remember I did an ice skull, ice blue skull back in the day. Everyone liked that. So you can really get creative with that black blank, or black skull, I should say. So that's a cool idea. Just something I picked up looking at that. There's a white skull. There's an antique skull. Interesting. So the antique skull is more, I bet, like yellowish white, almost like an old glow mask look. I don't know. Pretty neat. Whatever. There's skull face mask. Skull. Yeah. Nice grouping of skulls coming back. And I can't wait to see how these feel in hand. I'm absolutely ordering a damn ghost skull, a brand new ghost skull from Don Post Studios through Trick or Treat. You know, that's going to be really something. The one thing Justin and I were discussing a lot one evening was his versions of some of these Don Post masks. Like, you'll see there's classic masks coming back. Like, you'll see the Death Cyborg is coming back, Frankenstein 2001, and let me tell you something. He sent me images of that mask 2 or 3 months ago, and I got the actual catalog images they're going to be using for their catalog. Cannot show you those. But when you see this Frank 2001 big and close up, I mean, the images I'm going to show you are cool, but seeing that thing and seeing the paint up, seeing the paint job on it, it is amazing. It looks like everything about it is so vintage, like the original. The detailing is so true to the original, like the colors they used. And Jordu is the one that sculpted the new one, if you're wondering. And I know Justin told him, like, I want you to sculpt this, Jordu, but I don't want it too Jordu-y. He didn't say that term, but I want a new Don Post version, like the classic Frank 2001, but don't put too much Jordu in it, if that makes sense. And Jordu knocked it out of the park. I mean, it looks badass. Of course, Jordu would do a great job, but the way he executed it, I think it's perfect. And that brings us to, yeah, obviously it looks a little different, okay? It's not made to be the exact same mask from 1977, but it's very similar. And this is going to bring us to what I wanted to talk about regarding most of the masks you see that are reboots of the classics that we all know, especially the Glow line and the Eric and some of the masks. What Justin and I were talking about is, he said, I want to bring the masks back, and there's going to be little differences. Some masks may just have one little change, where other masks may be complete resculpts, you know. And there's a great reasoning behind this. And some people might go, what the hell, I want a brand new, I want a brand new Nuclear Death. I want a brand new Nuclear Death from the original mold. Why does it look slightly different? Well, the cool thing about that, the reasoning behind that is, and this goes, I'm trying to say so many things at once because I'm going to say right now, if anybody out there, if Don Post Studios should be in anyone's hands out there, it's Justin Mabry's. And that's my strong opinion. He's so passionate about everything he does, and he's a long time lover of Don Post Studios. And this whole thing is very important to him. Okay, so it's not like, oh, I got the name, I'm just gonna slap out a bunch of masks. Like, no, he's really putting a lot of thought into this, and he's not gonna do things unless it's done really great. Going back to why these masks may look a little different or why they may have one change on them, he literally told me, I want to protect the integrity of those original classic masks and sculptures. So he's literally freezing those in time. He's not going to just take those molds and just pump out all these new ones so it's all the same, old masks everywhere. And I thought that was awesome. So that made a lot of sense. I go, that is cool. There's going to be little differences, and people may people that aren't thinking clearly are going to go, oh, why has it got that? That's not on the original, or that Death Cyborg had this little thing over here and not over there, or whatever. And there's a reason for that, a good reason, a cool reason, and this also, we had a deep discussion about Don Post Studios through the decades, like the '60s mask lines going into the '70s, when Bill Malone would start sculpting things and Bob Short, things became drastically different in the Don Post line. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it's always been. So you're going to see things looking different now. And that only follows everything that's happened in this company along the way. If you truly think about Don Post Studios, different artists would come in, different things were so... Do you hear that horrid noise up there? That's my dryer, my washer and dryer. My dryer is squealing like crazy. These little rollers are... I got to take the whole thing apart and fix it. Anyway, if that's noisy up there, that's what the hell that noise is. But yeah, so do you guys get what I'm saying? Yeah, things are going to look different now, or slightly different in some cases, or I could tell that's that old mask, but hey, it's not exactly the same, or that's how it's been with this company, with Don Post. Things from the '70s to the '80s look different. The '90s and 2000s, everything changes through the decades with Don Post. Depending who was there making these things and sculpting them throughout the years, it was never super consistent. The quality was consistent up into the '90s or so, and things started getting, so-so in the end. But think about that. Does that make sense to you guys? So yeah, there's going to be people out there probably complaining. No matter what you do in life or with business or with YouTube channels, people are always going to complain. And you can't please everyone, but the people that really are passionate about Don Post masks and history of Don Post Studios and truly know, the timeline of things and how it all played out, how they all changed throughout the years, and still remain great quality, will totally see what I'm saying, okay? So yeah, things may look different now, or there may be little changes here and there, but there's a few reasons behind all of that. And everything Justin told me, not only made sense, but it also showed me even more what I already knew. Like, he is very passionate about this. Justin's got a lot on his plate, man. I don't know how he does it, but I am very, very excited to see some of these masks in hand. Even the Elusive Concept stuff coming out. Yeah, the Saucer Man, the Elusive Concept Saucer Man, he's got the mold, pumping them out now. You'll be able to order one of those. They're cool as hell. Metaluna Mutant is coming back. It's not going to be the full movie molds mutant, but it's going to be a good size one. It's going to be, I don't want to give too many details on it, but to my knowledge, it's going to be, I think, bigger than the '60s ones I got. Not quite movie mold size, but a great example of the mutants. And we will see if that's going to remain that way, what he and I talked about months ago. I haven't seen the image of the latest mutant that's out. He also had, I think he had the mold for the Elusive Concepts Metaluna Mutant as well. So in the pictures you might see the top of a mutant. That could be the I got to study it more, but that could be the Elusive Concepts one. So yeah, you're going to be able to buy these big cool aliens again, so much going on besides Don Post. You'll see some Topstone pieces in these images, like the mummy, for sure. There's a Topstone mummy, which is really cool. the shock monster, and oh my god, did you see the shock monster pail? There's a shock monster candy pail that looks amazing. I have all the other pails from the past, the Halloween 3 pails, the creature pails, but there's a shock monster pail that looks amazing. Topstone mummy. There's a Topstone hooded skull, which looks like Justin totally resculpted the old school white skull with the red eyes and the yellow teeth. I mean, I could tell that's a different version, but it's badass. And the old witch, the old green hooded witch with the yellow face and the big old nose. There's a new version of her. Absolutely Topstone pieces though. Thin Frank, Don Post Thin Frank. And the Snake Mummy, Jesus. Snake Mummy looks like it could be all original from the original mold. I'll have to really study it to see if Justin changed something on that. Now remember this mummy, this Don Post mummy, like really neat sculpt, but the way Don Post Studios executed it, Justin and I totally agreed, like they didn't do the best job with the colors and whatnot. It's not a big sought after mask in the collectible world these days. Like it's you see them pop up here and there over the years, but it's not one that's people were crazy about. Justin completely redid that mask, and it's in his brand new line, and it looks awesome. It's I wonder if it's a glow, but it's got the red eyes, and it looks so much better. It looks like a possible. It could be retooled or resculpted, or I really don't know. Like some of these things, I really need to compare with the originals, but man, I said, dude, I need a Frankenstein 2001 in my hands. I'm going to need a snake mummy. I'm going to need a ghost skull. Like, I'm ready. I said, Justin, I'm going to be buying Trick or Treat Studios masks. So I think as soon as we're ready to order this stuff, I'm putting a big order in, and I will do a video on how it looks in hand. Quality, size compared to original stuff. I'll do side-by-side comparisons if I've got the originals here. So yeah, these are all gorgeous, gorgeous pieces, and there's gonna be more and more and more and more coming out. And like I said, I was hesitant in the beginning, and I was just kind of watching all these comments flying around. I go, man, there's a lot of excitement about this. And I'm thinking, man, Justin, I hope you can do this. And man, he's doing it. Of course, Chris Zeffro is his partner, and they're both doing this. But a lot of the creative side, obviously, is coming from Justin. And hot damn, dude. From what I can see, and from the comments I see out there, people are very excited in the collector world. You know, Trick or Treat sells masks worldwide, okay? Like, they may produce a mask and it's sold all over the world in great quantities, but then you'll get a little handful of guys in the collector forums like, look at this mask, I don't like the way this looks, or this, you know, and this character, and it's like, in most of the cases, these aren't made for collectors. They're made for mass-produced worldwide Halloween mask sales, okay? Yeah, collectors might bitch here and there about things, but looking at the Don Post stuff, I think things are a little different now. Like, a lot of this is for the collector, in my opinion. And what's wonderful about this is, I'm hoping, one of my biggest pet peeves is going into these pop-up stores, like Spirit Halloween and Halloween City, walking in, going up to a wall of masks, and I'm like just sick about it. Like, what the? you know, a kid couldn't be a Wolfman or a Dracula or a Frankenstein if he wanted to, you know? He could be a weird old person or a freaking dumb clown, though. It's all that crap. You know, it's like, what happened to the monster mask? You know, this is what we're all about. This is what made Halloween great. You know, monster masks is at the top of the list. If you look at what made Halloween so great over the years, over the decades, over the past 100 years, monster masks are going to be way at the top of that list. Okay? I mean, bring the monster masks back to the public eye. And that's what I'm hoping will happen with this new Don Post stuff. I'm hoping you're going to go to Spirit Halloween and Halloween City and see mummies and Frankensteins on the walls again. Man, that's so important to get that stuff into kids' minds and them see this stuff and go, Mom, I want to be that for Halloween. Holy cow. I'm sick of being an old guy. You know, like, I hope that happens with this stuff. I hope you're going to see monster masks all over the place again. Like, that would be incredible. Go to Walgreens, go to Target, go to the Halloween mask section every October. It makes me want to vomit. Why even sell masks if they're going to be all horrible, the 7 masks you have on your shelves? Let's get Don Post Studios out in the world once again and bring them back with a vengeance, okay? So I hope that might clear up a few things. These are just little tidbits. I'm not here to tell all of Justin's secrets and plans, but there's some cool shit on the way. And I just sent him some neat artwork, some lost Don Post artwork that is going to be used for some future projects coming up. And I saved this stuff for many years, and I'm glad I never did anything with it because now it's going to the right place. Other than that, so yeah, that is why now you kind of, you know, that may ease some of your minds out there saying, well, why does that mask look a little different? They got the molds, they got this and that. There's reasons. There's reasons things will look different. And man, after Justin and I talked for hours on end, it all made sense, and it all made me like, I'm like smiling over the phone like, this is great. This is great. And the funny thing is, when the news came out, people were coming to me, they were going, oh, do you think this is going to ruin the value of your old masks? And I'm like, no, not at all. You know, and it's not going to even affect that vintage market. Guys like me who are all about vintage masks will always be about vintage masks. I'm not going to replace everything here with brand new masks now. I think the market's this market's so crazy. It could start, the market can be steady and it could always go up a little bit here and there, but then you get guys falling into this hobby that start altering the market, and the graph starts going like this, you know, and so there's no rhyme or reason sometimes to the way this stuff is priced out or valued. You know, a mask that was $400 might be $1,200 now, just because 2 guys were going at it, you know, and then like, man, oh my God, you see what that one sold for? Someone else may want to sell one. Well, that one brought $1,200. Okay, I'll give you that for it. And now all of a sudden they're all expensive. So that's just the way it goes. That can happen in any collectible world, not just masks. But no, it's not going to affect the value of old masks. Even Justin said, "There's no way. Why would anybody even think that?" But I'm very excited, and God, Justin and I talked a lot. There's Don Post stuff coming that's not masks, not masks, smaller things that I know about. We talked about those in detail, so I'm hoping that happens. I'm not going to say anything on the channel, but keep your eyes on Trick or Treat. Keep your eyes on Trick or Treat Studios, all right? And as soon as I'm able to get some masks here in the collection, I am going to show you them up close and personal, and I will go over the quality and all the details right here. So, all right, had to get that out because of the big news, because of these pictures that were leaked, and obviously the stuff looks cool. All right, let's move on to the next chapter of tonight's video. The 1983 Karloff. I thought I had 4 of them. I was looking for the 4th one, but I think maybe there's only 3 here. Since we're talking about Don Post, a lot of people out there search for vintage Frankensteins, and I think one that is greatly overlooked, in the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years is the 83 Karloff. Because they were kind of common for a long time. You'd see them surface often 10 to 15 years ago in the hobby. They're kind of, it was no big deal to run across one. But I've kind of noticed in recent years that has changed. In my opinion, this is a mask that is not as available as it once was. Once they hit collections, they seem to stick there, And in my opinion, the 70s, if a 70s Karloff hits eBay, it's gonna skyrocket. Serious collectors like myself are gonna go hard at it and bid, and it may get out of hand, it may become overpriced, but in some people's minds, but that's what happens when things are rare and very sought after, especially being super damn cool. A Frankenstein mask from the 60s or 70s, to me, I have favorite masks in all different areas of this hobby, but Frankenstein masks, old Frankensteins, to me are the shit. Okay, like that is something I go crazy over. I've got a nice abundance of different ones. Some guys get mad because I have a lot of the nice Frankensteins here, but if you're passionate enough about a collectible, if you're passionate enough about collecting something, you go after the rare stuff and you try to accumulate a nice collection of it, and that's what I did. And I happen to have a lot of Frankensteins, but there's a lot out there I don't have, and the prices on them can be astronomical depending on who you talk to. So where I'm trying to go with this is, in my opinion, if an 83 pops up, I would go after it. I would say that, this is a vintage, factory-produced Frankenstein mask. And I don't think there's going to be any more Karloffs, coming out with the new, the way things are going and licenses. There's been serious license issues with Universal. I don't think you're going to see Karloff Frankenstein masks for a long time, even brand new ones, through Trick or Treat, through Don Post, and hopefully I'm wrong. I've talked about stuff with Justin about what they've been dealing with, but I don't remember all the particulars. So what I'm saying is I would, if an 83 Karloff pops up, I think a lot of people over recent years would just kind of blow it off like, eh. But man, to me, this is a great mask. And 1983 now is a long time ago. It's over 40 years ago. So that is a vintage Frankenstein. And I just feel that they're going to be the next wave of old Frankenstein masks that are going to be very hard to get in the future. So get them now while the getting's good. Not that they're everywhere anymore, but it's just my opinion. Sometimes I look at little things I notice in this hobby, like, man, you used to see rainbow Carlisles all the time. I think back in the day a guy scored a ton of brand new ones in a case or something. I had one too. I should never have sold it, but I don't even have, do I have a 70s rainbow Carlisle here? 76 or 7? I don't think I do. I got an amazing 67 plastisol, but I remember you could buy a Rainbow Carlisle, brand new condition, 76, 77, mint, for $75 back in the day because they were so abundant. And I mean, that mask now, who knows what it would bring. But, so I noticed things like that. I'll say, man, you used to see 83 Carlos all the time. You know, this one popped up and it looked gorgeous. I go, that mask is so nice. And it was pricey. I think the guy had to buy it now of $800. And I kept looking at it and I'm like, it is pretty nice condition. It was tagged. I had to take the tag off to have it foamed. But I mean, the more I thought about it, I'm like, that's an old Frankenstein mask. And I felt someday in the near future, $700-800 isn't going to be that far out of line for that mask. So I said, why not? I jumped on it. I brought home Frank's from the Frankenstein. This is one of the plastic bag masks. I'm thinking of showcasing all the plastic bag masks in a row right in front of you guys, because you saw them in that video one at a time. I kind of want to line them all up here in front of the camera. No bags, naked. So that's something I think we should do. But this poor guy, going back to the other night when I was talking about foam filling, when people say, oh, it's not good for your masks, or they argue, you know, that it's beneficial, this mask was not foam filled, okay? And it was on Frank's shelf since the 80s, okay? He had his 83 Karloff customized by, I believe, Kathy Tharp in the late 80s. And so she did eye inserts, made the scar nice and glossy, like really stepped it up a notch. But this mask sat on his shelves for years and years and years. And gravity, as I always say, gravity takes its toll. I know I repeat myself over and over on this channel. But look at this. Can you see that? I'm going to zoom in. See that crack forming between it's in the bridge of the nose. So watch this. If I push up on that, it goes away. It tightens up again. So what I'm going to do, this is going to get foam filled. Most likely it's getting sent out to be filled because I want it done right, you know. I'm going to take a toothpick, a very fine, I may even sharpen it to a little, you know, needle point, or even a needle. I'm going to carefully put some super glue, tiny amounts, all through that crack. And I'm going to lift that bridge and brow together and bring it back up. I want to squeeze this back together and seal that little crack. Get it foam filled and hope for the best. That's all you can really do, you know. But this thing not being foam filled, that's what happens. And that's the start of it. It's going to get worse and worse until you got a freaking hole there, okay? And it's going to continue to droop. I've seen masks from the 70s sit on a shelf for 40 plus years. The eye holes start drooping, like literally the rubber starts going, and it gets hard because it's on a foam head, and the mask is seriously effed up, okay? So foam filling is, in my mind, a must, okay? And I've got several examples in here to back up what I'm telling you. When guys argue the fact that foam filling is, you know, harmful, or, you know, you don't need to foam fill your masks, I'll say, oh yeah? I got the prime example. The prime example. I have the greatest example to show you why foam filling is so beneficial. And it's right over there in the glass case, and it is the 1972 Vern Langdon zombie. Maskahuna, the guy that foam filled this 3 months ago, foam filled that zombie in 1983. Yes, for Frank. That's how far back these guys would all go in this hobby. You know, when I was 10 years old, 11 years old, he's foam filling a freaking Vern Langdon zombie for Frank. Like, now I'm 51 years old. Like, that's crazy to me, you know? So, what I tell people is, if that zombie wasn't foam filled, if you felt that zombie, it ain't like nice rubber. Like, no. It is, you know, it's a shell now. if that thing wasn't foam filled in '83, you would not be looking at it here in this collection today. It would be gone. Joel's copy needed serious restoration work, and I guarantee you, if his was foam filled way back when, it wouldn't have had to go through all that. So I'm just saying, that's how it is. When I'm back in town again, I don't know, maybe I'll try to do a foam filling video before I leave. We will see. And I was talking about that slugger, that distortion slugger with the cigar. I think we'll foam fill him here. Like, that one seems to me to be an easy one to fill. So I think we should attempt that with the materials I got upstairs. And things like this, you know, that are older and to me a little more fragile, or they need help with the shape better, I send them all to Mascahuna. Like, I don't want to screw them up, especially a Frankenstein mask. So this dude looks weird because his face is, you know, either too stuffed or too skinny at times. He's distorted because of this issue here. Once that's tightened up again, it, like, the features change, you know, it looks better again. So this thing deserves to be filled right. Yeah, he actually filled this one in the 80s too. He's probably filled 1,000 masks or more. God, who knows? He's been doing it since the damn 80s. No wonder he's so good. All right. Now what? The Frankenstein brothers. All right, guys. Back to your shelves. All right. I'm not sure if I showed this dude yet. You probably heard me talk about wanting to score a Gusher mask for a long time, and I finally did get one maybe 2 months ago. My buddy Pete DeVito down in FLA sold me this sucker. And it's funny, the 2 or 3 attempts I've tried over the years to buy one of these, the seller was always totally a flake. Like, marketplace people obviously have mental problems. They don't know how to exist in the real buying and selling world, or they're complete crooks. But hot damn, Pete sold me one, and the reason I wanted one so bad is because of all the great bloody pieces here by Distortions. He totally fits right in. And all this goes back to the old days of Fango, reading Fangoria, because these suckers were always in those ads, you know, and I'd be like, that was the thing about Distortions. They were so gory. No Dom Post mask was looking like this. Just blood and faces ripped apart. You got all kinds of crazy stuff going on with this company. Ed took it to another level, you know, with all that stuff. And you'd see the props, like the half-body guy with the little mustache laying there, you know, and then severed legs and arms. And it's not your usual severed hand where it's just like a red on it. It was meaty and gory. Everything was just over the top and crazy with what they were producing back then. So I always had a sweet spot for that stuff. And of course, over the years, my collection went straight Dom Post for, you know, shit, 10 or 15 years hardcore. All I wanted was Dom Post Studios. I wanted to collect every damn Dom Post mask there was. I think back to all the incredible Distortions masks I could have bought, you know, back then. And it's like, man, now they're way more money. But they're still out there, and I could still grab one, or, you know, one here and there these days, and it's awesome. But I passed up a lot of great masks over the years. And no regrets, though. I mean, I was very happy with where this collection ended up in the Dom Post world, and this collection hit a point where I felt it was at the top. Like, I thought there's no way I could even get any better of a Dom Post collection if I tried. So right now it's still super, super strong as far as Dom Post rarities. Back in the day, I used to go for quantity too, like where I would want to complete every page in a catalog. Like, even the weirdest dumb masks, like, well, there's that weird one, you know, I gotta have it because it's on the page, you know. So I was like that. I had that mentality for a while back in the day. That's changed. I've let a lot of masks go that were on pages like that I'm like, do I really love this mask? That damn battery died again. when the battery dies, that means I'm talking too much, right? I was saying that, where do we leave off? Oh my God, I had to go upstairs. Yeah, so collecting, as Josh Warren said, we were completists. Meaning we had to complete every mask on a catalog page for 83 or 85. And believe me, that is fun. Like, that is a fun thing because it can be very difficult to achieve. So that was one way I used to collect, was trying to complete everything on a catalog page, you know. So in the end, I'm like, yeah, there's masks that I'm just not in love with. You know, I just have them because of that. So weeded that stuff out and went deeper and deeper into the Don Post stuff. And of course, when I started bringing Frank's stuff here, it got out of control. So that wraps up this episode for tonight. I had to touch on the Don Post Trick or Treat Studios thing because that's a hot topic today. And if you go in the groups, a lot of people are talking about it. And I wanted to get my 2 cents out there and just some of the little information I knew and things I talked about with Justin. And a lot of it may make more sense to people that are confused as to how come one mask might look a little different than the other, than the old ones did. Or I was expecting the exact same copy out of that mold for my collection that I could never find in, you know, in a 70s version. And why is it different? So that should put a lot of weird thoughts to rest, and it should make a lot of collectors go, yeah, that's pretty damn cool. Like, I'm glad he did that, or, you know, it's cool he did that. Wanting to, like, freeze those old masks in time and not just take the mold and pump out a bunch of brand new ones. Like, to me, it was like, yeah, that would be cool, but I'm glad it didn't go that way. It would be a little more boring to me if all they did was take those old molds and make new copies out of them. You know, like, so I'm glad some things are changed up and look a little different. I think it's really cool, and it totally falls in line with the way Don Post Studios worked over the years and the way the masks changed over the decades. You know, the styles and the looks, and it's another chapter in Don Post history right now. It's all starting this new chapter. So you guys are lucky you're seeing this happen right before your eyes. Who knows what all this will be 20 years from now, you know? So it's the start of something new, and you're here for it. So that's awesome. All right, good night, and more videos are on the way. See you later.